back to Making Food Monday. The Christmas season is officially over. We are back home, but we brought with us the leftovers of Christmas turkey, and I've decided to go ahead and use that. Today, I'm gonna be making leftover turkey and dumplings. For today's recipe, we will need chicken bouillon powder, some chopped onion or a fresh onion if you have one. I just happen to be out. I need some garlic, some Montreal chicken seasoning, some white wine, whatever the cheap kind is or whatever you happen to have on hand will work. Obviously, you'll need a leftover turkey. This is mostly bones with some meat mixed in. Those are gonna be important. We need some half and half and some bisquick mix. And that should be all we need for our recipe today, guys. First thing that's gonna go in our pot today is our minced garlic. We need 2 teaspoons of minced garlic. There's 1, and there's 2. I'm also gonna use about a 1/4 cup of my dried chopped onions. If you happen to have a regular onion on hand, I would use 1 onion. 1/4 cup of dried chopped onions. The other option you have, depending on how you cooked your turkey to start with, would be to use all the onions that generally I would put in the center of my turkey when I cook it. I would use all of the vegetables. Anything you put inside your turkey when you roast your turkey would be great for flavoring this soup. Generally, I would have some of that left over, but this turkey wasn't mine. This was my dad's turkey, and he smoked it, and it was amazing. Up next, I need about 1 cup of white wine. This one happens to be a Chardonnay. It's just what I have on hand. Any cheap wine that you have will work, or if you happen to have a bottle of open white wine that you'd like to use, that will work. Any wine you have will do just fine. 1 cup white wine. 1 cup of white wine. Up next, I'm gonna add 3 teaspoons of Montreal chicken seasoning. Now, it's not specifically important that you use Montreal chicken seasoning. You can use whatever chicken seasoning you want, but I like this one particularly because I love the flavor of it. There's 1 teaspoon, 2 teaspoons, and 3 teaspoons. Now, I just kind of let this sit together for just a little while so that my onion can rehydrate in my wine. That's gonna make everything kind of blend together and taste really good in the end. But once we let that sit for just a few minutes, we're going to add our turkey bones. Now, as you can tell, I've got just about every bone here. I'm gonna place the entire bone and all of the meat that is with it into my pot. I may need to break it up here, and that's okay, just to get it to fit in my pot. Whatever I need to do to get it to fit in there is exactly what I'm gonna do, just like that. Get all of my bones in the pot. Up next, we're gonna add 6 cups of water. There's 4, and there's 2 more, which makes 6 full cups of water. And the last thing we're gonna add is 2 tablespoons or 6 teaspoons of chicken bouillon powder. There's 1 tablespoon and 2 tablespoons. And that's it, guys. We're ready to seal up our pot. Now we're gonna drop down in here to our chicken function because that's our high pressure. We're gonna take the time cook down to 15 minutes. And that's gonna be able to cook the rest of the meat off of the bones and to extract the flavor from everything that's left. Okay, guys, our time has expired and it's time to let our pressure out. There we go. Now we'll open up our pot. This smells really good, but clearly we have a few too many bones to eat this as soup. So the next step is to take all of the bones out of the broth. Now, the best way that I've found to extract the bones from the broth is to just get a nice big scoop and scoop out the chunks with your scoop. Put them into a bowl, and then you can separate the meat from the bones fairly easily because you don't want to leave bones in your soup. It's better to lose a little bit of the meat than to eat any of the bones. Once I get all of the bones out of the pot, now I'm just gonna pick through here and pick out the meat and put that back into our soup. got all of the bones and all of the meat separated. I've got all of the meat in the pot and all of the bones set aside. I can actually discard all of the bones because I'm finished with those. And then it's time to decide if you've got enough liquid in your soup. It's gonna depend on how much meat you got off of your turkey or your chicken if you're using a chicken. I think I'm gonna go ahead and add more water because I think there's plenty of meat in here to support it. So I'm gonna add 3 more cups of water to mine. And that's just gonna give us more soup. And you can see now that I've added more water that I clearly still have plenty of meat. So I am not upset that I added more water. This is gonna be super tasty.
Now, there's 2 different schools of thought on dumplings. I personally prefer the biscuit dumplings over the noodle dumplings. Some of the dumplings that you can get are thick noodles that they call dumplings. The other form of dumplings are biscuits that are boiled in your broth. I'm gonna make the biscuit version today because that's what I like.
So the first thing we need to make that is, of course, our bisquick. 2 cups of bisquick. And to that, I'm going to add 3/4 of a cup of half and half. There's 1, there's 2, and there's 3/4 of a cup. And then, of course, we're gonna mix that into a biscuit dough. And then we're gonna come back over to our pot. We're gonna push stop so it's not keeping warm. We're gonna go to the sear roast function. We're gonna start that. And that's gonna bring our soup to a boil. All we're gonna do is we're gonna take spoonfuls of batter and we're gonna drop it in there just like that. These are called drop biscuits because you literally drop them in just like that. Until you get to the very last one.
We're gonna wait for this to boil. Once it gets to a boil, we're gonna cover it and we're gonna let them cook.
Once it starts kind of bubbling a little bit, that took about 10 minutes for it to start bubbling. And once it does start to kind of bubble, I'm just gonna put the lid on.
I don't want this to get back under pressure because we don't need that. I just want it to boil for a few minutes so that my dumplings that I've just dropped in there can cook. So I'm just gonna set the lid on top and then I can leave it boiling for about 5 to 10 minutes. Just making sure that you keep an eye on it so it doesn't boil over.
So I had this covered for 1 minute and it started boiling. I'm just gonna set the lid right back on top and let it boil. But I'm going to keep peeking in there and making sure that it does not boil over. Now once our soup has been boiling for about 10 minutes, our dumplings should be good to go. And that's it, we're ready to serve it up. And there we have it, guys, leftover turkey and dumplings.
Okay, Jaxie, it's ready and I've got it plated. Now we need our
guinea pig.
Do it.
Guinea pig!
What is that? Oh, is that a worm?
Yeah.
It's like a hungry worm. What's that? A hungry pig and a sloth? Is it a sloth?
Krista doesn't feel good, pig.
Aww. And a daddy pig! Oh, thinks it smells awesome. Wait, is that your pajamas? What, you think just because this is Christmas break, you don't have to get dressed?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's 2 of them. At least that one got dressed. Who wants to taste it?
Please, 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 please.
Okay, fine. Mia's first. Careful, it's hot though. Hey, remember when I said it was hot?
I didn't know.
It's really hot.
The liquid's good.
Yeah? Careful, it's hot. It's really hot.
Really hot. My turn is next.
Still hot? Still hot?
Feel good about hot.
So how many thumbs are you gonna give that, Miss Mia? You like? Awesome. Thanks, man.
Welcome.
Let's see. Who's hungry? I see something over there that interests me. It's that one. Waxy Paxy, your turn.
Tasting the soup first. Soup is good.
It's really hot.
Kind of dry.
Do you like it?
Flavor, yes, but it's kind of dry.
So you're supposed to mix it into your soup, silly.
Oh.
Do you like it? How many thumbs are you gonna give me, little man?
For the soup, yes, but for the dumpling, side to side because the flavor's good and it's dry. So
It's not dry. It's a boiled biscuit, you weirdo. All right, who's next?
This kid looks miserable.
Jordan says he's not feeling good today. I'm not sure what's going on. Would you like some soup?
Okay. Yeah, I was excited when I first heard that we were making this because I love turkey and I love dumplings. And so it should be good. Look, I'm gonna be cool and I'm gonna have some turkey and dumpling.
Careful, it's hot.
That's not.
He's probably cooked.
That's not bad.
You like?
I can't taste anything.
It's not bad because I can't taste it.
No, but the texture's good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, how many thumbs are you gonna give that texture then?
I'm gonna give that 2 thumbs up because texture's not much, but
Yeah, all right. I'll take
good.
it. Thanks, man. Hey, do me a favor. Feel better.
I'll try.
All right. Sold. Daddy,
All right.
your turn.
So since this turkey was smoked turkey, it smells like smoked
Turkey.
turkey. Oh, that's good soup. Oh, that's great flavor with that smoke. Oh, that's really tasty, man.
How many
Big-
thumbs are you gonna give me,
A lot.
Dad?
This is really good.
Thanks, Dad.
Yep, you're welcome.
Okay, guys, my final thoughts. Here's the thing. I grew up in a family with a lot of kids, so I learned early on that you really don't want to waste any part of an animal that you're going to eat. First of all, because it's wasteful and it's expensive to buy food, but second of all, you need to respect the animal. I think this recipe in the pressure cooker turned out really, really good. Usually when I make turkey and dumplings, it's with a turkey that I've roasted, and I use all the stuff that came from the inside of the turkey when I roasted it, and I use that as part of the base for the soup, as well as any leftover gravy that I might have, which actually just makes the soup super yummy. This time I didn't have either of those things, but it still turned out really good. And that's because I know what I roast my turkey in usually, so I added all of those things to the broth to make the soup. And it turned out super good. And I was a little bit apprehensive about putting it in the pressure cooker only because I wasn't sure how the bones would react under pressure. I think though, the meat came off of the bones even easier than it did when I boiled it because the pressure helped release them from the bones. So I got the bones off cleaner. I had fewer leftover bones in the soup. Only one person found a bone in their bowl. And it turned out really, really tasty. So I will definitely do this again. It's definitely a really good use for that leftover turkey. This actually is a lot more meat left on there than you would think. So I think this is an excellent way to use the turkey, and I will be doing this from now on.
Who thought the turkey and dumplings was yummy? Who's not feeling so good and ready to go to bed? Aw, Jordan, I told you you have to feel better. Who thought it was really tasty and would like to eat it again?
Not sick. If I can only have dumplings. I don't want to be sick.
Only dumplings and no soup. What about you, Jax? Do you want only soup and no dumplings?
Only soup.
All right, so you can have the dumplings, Malia, and Jackson, you can have the soup. But other than that, I really think that this one turned out super tasty, and it's an excellent way to use up what our family calls the turkey carcass. When there's not much meat left and it's just bones with a little bit on there that you have to somehow figure out how to scrape out, that's the perfect way to use up that last little bit of turkey. But Jordan is ready to get some sleep, so I guess it's time to send these Smartypants to bed. So,
If you like this video,
Leave
give it
a thumbs up.
Want to make the channel strong?
Share it with your friends. And now, good night, YouTube. See you tomorrow.
If you haven't subscribed,
Please subscribe now. Poof. Turkey and dumplings were super awesome. But for the dumplings.